Well, good evening, DirtFish friends, and a very warm welcome to our end of day 2 review here from the Arctic Rally Finland. David, I think we have to start by talking about the final stage of the day. We'd been expecting to see drama in the snowbanks, but it really didn't come until stage 8, final stage of the day, in the dark. Tyres perhaps deteriorating a little bit, the grip levels unpredictable. Who did it catch out?
Which corner was it, Colin? Just remind me.
No. Do you want to call me Mystic Cole?
No.
Okay. Yeah, listen, we did actually go to the very corner. Sebastian Ogier went off. I think it was the final corner of the stage. We went
quite a long left-hander, sort of fourth gear left-hander, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But you know, when we walked a long way and we walked through a lot of corners, and we did come to that one, and you could see in the line, you could see that the car, it was going to be putting an awful lot of stress on the right-hand side of the car. And clearly, you know, the right rear has just given way, or, you know, he's got, because equally there was that huge amount of loose outside the line. He could have got into there, but you'd have to say that, you know, something, the rear of the car has just let go clearly, hit the snowbank and turned the front in and gone a heck of a long way in, because there was that much inertia in the car, because it was really quite a quick section.
It was going pretty quick, and you know, when you go as deep into the snowbanks as that, you're not getting out. But he did get out. Thank goodness he got out eventually. It was, 15, 20 minutes too late. But he's out, the car is going. He will be back tomorrow, which is the most important thing in terms of power stage points. You know what? If it was going to happen to Ogier, this would be the rally he would pick. He was sitting, floundering in 9th or 10th place. He was picking up a couple of points. You know, it's not he was annoyed. He was not annoyed even. He was pragmatic at the stop line when
he was totally pragmatic. But you know, I think he was running 6th, wasn't he? You know, it was incredibly difficult. If you read the notes here, it does say, look.
Was he up to 6th? Okay.
Because he'd had
the day in.
He'd had that scrap with Oliver, hadn't he? And he just got ahead of him. As he kept saying throughout the day, you know, all of this, the foundations for this miserable result for him was set up yesterday, you know, and he was running first on the road. But what I'd felt throughout the day, we talked to him, and he hadn't been ruffled. He'd been accepting of what was going to be sort of 5th or 6th place and a massive push in the power stage for +5 tomorrow. And, you know, it's a difficult one, because I think he's just been caught out, you know, and it's so easy to happen. End of the stage, you know, he knows he's just a couple of corners from the line, and the tyres are on the limit.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You know, at 6th place, 8 points. You know, it's the end of the season. We've very often seen it coming down to small margins like that. You wouldn't give that away for sure, but you know, had he been leading a rally and he'd gone off on the final stage on Saturday night, then he would have been upset. So I think that's where the slight pragmatism.
Your point. Yeah, okay.
You know, I think that's where the pragmatism came from.
You
know, if he was fighting at the front.
Yeah, he wasn't going to give. He's not giving away
18,
30
20
points.
Exactly, he's not. So, that's really, I think the you know, the mindset that Ogier had. It's like, okay, put this behind me. It's not a complete disaster. We'll be back out tomorrow.
Globally, he is more relaxed about everything. You know, it's almost a sort of farewell tour, plus Monty maybe next year. You know, as competitive a soul as he is enjoying himself.
Well, no question. Now, you know, we are talking about the final stage, stage 8. It was run in the dark, stage 8. What a stage from Thierry Neuville, a driver who has been, you know, we kind of, floundering is the wrong word, but a driver who was struggling a little bit with various aspects. There's a little bit of a struggle in terms of, you know, the communications between driver and co-driver. They're working on that. It's improving.
That's all it is. That is all it is. You know, we talked a lot about this, the intonation and, you know, the way that the words are coming out, and it's all exactly what we were talking about.
Absolutely.
You know, it's because the accent isn't quite what Thierry's used to.
And I think it's what you said at the start of the week. You said it's just a different voice. It's something alien in your ear, and it takes a lot of time to get used to that. And it's only particular words, it seems, and particular words. You know, it's when the engine's revving hard. It's particular words. And he's just not hearing it properly.
But it was classic, wasn't it? At lunchtime, we said, you know, how do you get around this? And Thierry said, essentially, you know, he has to speak with more of a French accent. And quite literally, Martin is now practicing, you know, perhaps watching, we said, you know, old episodes of Hello, and getting that French accent exactly right.
How's your French accent? Go on, read me a line. Read me 4 right over crest into 6 left in French accent.
Quatre.
No, a French accent. 4 right over crest into 6 left. Does that give me the job?
I can't be that.
Does that give me the job?
Get Thierry on the phone now.
No, it is a sorry to be joking about it. It's quite a serious matter. But let's talk about. You're right.
Stage,
that's the only thing. Because that stage, it was a genius.
But it was because as we've discovered, he saved that one tyre.
One fresh tyre.
And that just demonstrates just how important the tyre is. That he had that one fresh tyre, and he was able to take 12 seconds off everybody.
It was an astonishing drive. It was an astonishing drive. It propelled him right back into battle. Do you know what I forgot to do for you folks? What did I forget to do?
You forgot to put your glasses on.
I did, but what does that normally mean?
It means you're going to do the top 10.
I am, because that's critical now, particularly now we're talking about where Thierry Neuville is. So let's do that for you folks back home. Let's go through the top 10 at the end of stage 8. We have 2 stages to run tomorrow. David, we have 44 kilometres, which is
28 miles.
28 miles to go tomorrow. So with 44 Ks, 28 miles to run tomorrow.
2 stages.
Tanak leads over Calais Rovanpera by 24.1 seconds. That incredible last stage from Thierry Neuville puts him right back into the battle for second place. He is only 1.8 seconds off of Calais Rovanpera. Craig Breen, we'll talk about him shortly. He's had a bit of a disappointing day, that's by his own admissions. 53.4 seconds off the lead, but still sitting in 4th place. Elvin Evans is in 5th, 10.1 off Breen. That is a catchable gap for sure tomorrow. Oliver Solberg, get this, Oliver Solberg, his second day in a World Rally Car, sits in 6th place. Gatsutasan is 7th, Timo Sunonen in 8th, Gus Greensmith 9th, Yanni Tuohino moves up. That may change. That may change as drivers come through. We'll just give you the top 9. Because it is Greensmith who is in 9th place. We've still got more cars coming through the stage. But the battle tomorrow between Calais Rovanpera and Thierry Neuville is going to be epic. And I think we're going to see a battle between Craig Breen and Elvin Evans as well. It's a great final day. And let's not forget, Tanak, he's a spin away from being right back in that battle himself.
Absolutely. But, I think when you listen to Calais as the days progressed and we spoke to him, and at times today he's sounded quite desperate, because
and we've never heard that before.
No, we haven't, because and that's a reflection of how much he thought. We heard it in Estonia when he got the puncture, and it was like, and he realised that moment, that opportunity had gone, and this is exactly where he is right now, because he knew this rally was not quite in the palm of his hand. But it wasn't far away.
It was there for the taking.
It was, and the frustration is that he's had a great rally car all through last season, and now suddenly he's got a car that isn't quite doing what he wants in a place that he would really expect it to do exactly as he wants.
I think that's the point, David. I think in Estonia, the puncture was nothing to do with his driving particularly, nothing to do with the car. But here the issue was in particular those first 3 stages this morning. Yeah. They just didn't really seem to suit the setup wasn't, not all of them.
The middle stage did. We had that very big divide, didn't we, where the first stage was very much a Hyundai stage, really twisty. Again, quite a big surprise given that, Hyundai historically, recent history, they've kind of struggled on the first pass where the grip's not as high and you haven't got the ruts for the car to grab hold of. So they've clearly worked and have made great strides in that direction. The Toyota struggled in the twistier sections this morning, but once we got into that second stage and the road opened up, the Toyota power, it really told. And we saw Hyundai first stage, Toyota second stage, third stage was...
No, I can't remember either. I think it was fairly evenly matched.
Yeah, Oik Tanak. Oik was fastest on stage 5.
But this was the point about Tanak. We did see stages shooting Toyota, stages shooting Hyundai this morning. But what was consistent this morning was Tanak.
My point, just to come back to it though, Calais worked with the car. At lunchtime, we worked with the car through this afternoon, and it came to him. And towards the end of the day, certainly in that last stage, there was more positivity around him. Sure. And I think, if he can carry that into tomorrow and get a good run through the first stage, my money, I have to say, would be on Calais keeping that
my money's still very much on Calais. But, I think the attitude we saw this morning from Calais, there was despondency there. And that was because he genuinely thought that even although he was 20 seconds behind Tanak had a way better road position last night. 144 kilometres, how many miles today? It's around about 95 miles, isn't it? 94, 95 miles. He thought that was enough. He thought, if I get things right from the opening stage, I can still put pressure on Tanak. I can still catch Tanak.
There was an explanation for Calais last night, wasn't there, for Tanak's lead? Like you said, great place on the road. And essentially, I think Calais went into this morning thinking, I'm coming for you, pal.
Exactly.
And that, we have to say great credit to Tanak as well, because he has just kept pushing it forward.
I thought he was great today. I just thought he was so in control. And do you know what I found interesting? Is his attitude at stage ends. I've said it before, I've been a little bit critical at times of his attitude at stage ends, but he's been so relaxed. He's been so relaxed. He seems to have it, I hate to say under control, because on this surface, you're always on the edge.
But we've noticed that, at every opportunity we've spoken to him, I was his co-driver on the first day of our trip here, when we were behind 6 husky dogs.
Oh, yeah.
On the old husky dog sleigh ride, where we were way quicker than you and Craig Breen. From that minute, we chatted throughout the whole stage, and he was really relaxed, super relaxed, and really quite expansive in a way that we've not really seen him before. And I don't know, maybe something's changed, I don't know, but he has been super relaxed, and he has been so consistent, and he's taken he had that moment in the snowbank, but nothing, quite dramatic.
In stage 5 it was, wasn't it? Yeah. So that he went into the snowbank, I think. But no, he's been in control. I think he's been very, very impressive indeed. Quick word about Craig Breen. By his own admissions, I think what he said was, when you get these opportunities, you have to bring your A game. You have to be on top of it. And he's just not managed to find that A game out there today.
Sometimes I get very, very frustrated with Craig sometimes, that he is sometimes overly hard on himself. It's not perfect, but he's doing a tremendously solid job for the team.
Exactly the job they'd have wanted him to do.
There are 3 Hyundais in the top 4. Okay, he's the third one, but he's there. He's the safety net, and there's been a couple of snowbank incidents that he said, he was quite fortunate to get out of, but he's there, and he needs to focus on that and consolidate that place tomorrow.
He does. Do you know what I'm going to tell you? I'm going to tell you who's now in 10th at the end of the day. Because guess who it is? It is Esa-Pekka Lappi.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to go through my top 10 again for you, but
we just
earlier on
need
I didn't have all the cars in. But Esa-Pekka, we'll go to Esa-Pekka in a second.
No.
What?
Esa-Pekka Lappi's perfect record has gone.
Who's won stage 8?
Gryazin. Nothing against Nikolai Gryazin, lovely fella.
Yeah.
Been in your kitchen.
He has, yeah. No, and Crumbs, that was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Before we realised quite the potential perhaps he had. Yeah. The potential to go fast and the potential, sadly.
He saw the potential in that kitchen, though, didn't he? He did. So Gryazin, Vaby and Lappi third quickest, but an amazing day from Lappi.
An amazing
huge
day
moment
from Lappi.
In talking of snowbanks.
Oh, jeez.
Have a look for that one.
Yeah, have a look on. I think we've tweeted it on DirtFish. Just showed you what snowbanks are all about. Massively fast left-hander. Looked like it was more or less a flat left-hander. Yeah. Might have been a 6 left maybe, and he took it 6 left flat. What are you looking at that with?
I've just got to share with you one of Colin's finer moments today when we were on our way. Colin was navigating us out to a stage or somewhere, and I said,
I'm good at navigating.
Left or right, and what did I get?
You got forward.
Forward.
I invented a new signal. There was no left or right. There was no left turn. There was only a straight on or a right. So
forward.
So forward was the
brilliant.
Yeah.
I'll look forward to more
I'm going to use
tomorrow.
forward from now on. To be honest with you, Breen. Yeah, I agree with you totally. Sometimes he is a little bit critical, but he understands how important it is to do the job that he's being asked to do. And you'd have to say, if the job that he was being asked to do was to win rallies, that might seem a little bit unfair, because you can't get into a car every 6 months and win rallies.
They could not expect
exactly. So what is the job? The job is to be there and it's to do the best possible job.
He's doing that.
He's doing that.
But tell me, Col, who is your money on tomorrow? Will Elvin make the 10?
No, I don't think he will. I don't think he will. I think Breen, it's a quarter of a second per kilometre. which is, here's a question for you. Now we're talking miles. What is that per mile?
It's not a lot. Or is it a lot? It's either a lot or not a lot. It's something.
Yeah,
but you know, the one thing that we've driven the power stage. It's a quick old bit of road, isn't it?
It is.
That tomorrow, and looking at what we've seen today, maybe it will favour the Toyota.
Maybe. But let's now talk about, at the end of the day, Oliver Solberg. Here's a mark of just how quickly the kid has developed and how quickly our expectation levels have risen. Stage 3, what happened?
Third fastest.
Did we get overly excited by it?
No, we didn't, did we?
How utterly bizarre.
I mean, we were reasonably excited, but it wasn't like a
whoa moment.
And there have been lots of those from you, I have to say.
And you when I'm driving.
Yes, and telling me to go forward.
Forward?
No, we didn't. And that's exactly the point, isn't it? That it is quite remarkable the way that he has just continued to take those steps, and just the enthusiasm that, at the media zones, he's just been absolutely inspired.
He has been. And what we have to remember as well, he's 23.3 seconds behind Elfyn Evans at the end of the day.
He was scrapping with Sebastian Ogier
all day. He was beating Ogier in a number of stages. He lost at least 20 seconds when he went into that snowbank. Yes, he was lucky not to have spent more time in there, but he lost at least 20 seconds. And, it's been the most, whatever happens now, and fingers crossed he finishes tomorrow. He has shown himself to be the exceptional talent we all hoped he was. We saw it. We thought it was there, but sometimes it doesn't convert. Sometimes the pressure gets too much. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. But I think Oliver Solberg, it has happened this weekend.
One of the things that's most impressive about this, and one of the things that I kind of questioned a little bit, we talked a lot about him coming into this event. He understands the surface, he knows the conditions, blah, blah, blah. But it is a very, very quick event. Start of last year, I talked to Kalle Rovanperä and said, you must be really looking forward to Rally Finland. It's the one that you can potentially go for the win. And he said, not a chance. He said, the biggest thing to get to grips with this current generation of cars is aero. He said, not anybody, he said, I can drive the slower, the medium speed stuff, that's okay. But it's when you're getting into 5th and 6th gear, you need to understand is the aero, and the fact that we've come here with these. Let's just, out of interest, have a look at the average speeds in the stages. What was the average speed?
119.5.
Let's go
in
back
the final
to the first run.
No, 119.5. So nearly 120 kilometers an hour, 80 miles an hour.
The first run through stage 4, Elfyn was quickest, and because that's the quickest one, wasn't it? That was one with the big speed in the middle, and the average speed was. Perhaps it's not here, so we'll perhaps come back to 131. Good Lord, 132 on stage 5. Yeah. That's massive speed, and that's a huge reliance on the aero.
Absolutely.
And he's done it. And all day when we've seen Oliver today, he's been talking about I'm trying to take a step with the aero. He said, we talked about that corner in the first stage last night. That fast right-hander, and I said, what are you doing? And he said, it's 6th gear into the apex, and he said. Normally in the R5 car, you'd come down a gear. He said, but this, you just keep it. There's torque in the engine that pulls you through, and the car is just planted.
Do you know what he said? Do you know what his quote was? It messes with your head. You would normally say in the R5 car, you get the torque, but, the aero messes with your head. Folks, what a day we've had. Really, it has been an exceptional day here in Rovaniemi for day 2 of the Arctic Rally Finland. Day 3 is a short one, 2 stages, 44 Ks, 28 miles to come. So, folks, again, from myself, from David Evans.
We should just mention before we go, again, what enormous, real, genuine sadness throughout the service park today at the news of Hannu Mikkela's passing yesterday. And we've been really fortunate today to talk to a lot of people, to talk to his Audi teammate Michel Mouton, to Malcolm Wilson, who battled against him in an escort. And Malcolm said, for him, the finest driver ever to sit in an RS 1800, quite an accolade. And we've put these voices together.
We have. We've these stories that we've heard around the service park today. We've put together in a video. It's a tribute video to Hannu Mikkela, and you can see that on our YouTube channel. So you're quite right, David.
Yeah, I think it's fitting, Col, isn't it? Just to end this day 2 review on that note, to remember Hannu Mikkela, the great champion that he was, the great gentleman, clearly, that he was, and the great teammate that he was, and to send our absolute condolences to all of his family and his friends, and just remember him as he was, the great guy.
We will do that indeed. Folks, thank you for joining us this evening. We'll see you tomorrow.